Welcome to the Labels Don't Define Us podcast. I'm your host, Sarah, and I'm really glad you're here with me today. This episode is for anyone whose body has carried more than words could explain, for those living with chronic illness, chronic pain, or invisible conditions, and for those who have ever been told, "But you don't look sick." Today, we're talking about the powerful connection between mental health and chronic illness, how the body remembers, how the nervous system responds, and how healing can still happen even when symptoms remain. This is a gentle conversation, a validating one, and most of all, a hopeful one. Now, I am going to tell you about the mind-body connection. For a long time, medicine separated the mind and the body. But science now shows us something very different. They are deeply intertwined. When someone lives with chronic pain, fibromyalgia, lupus, autoimmune disease, or long-term illness, the nervous system is often in a constant state of alert. Trauma, whether physical or emotional, can heighten pain sensitivity. Stress can worsen inflammation. Depression and anxiety frequently develop alongside chronic illness, not because someone is weak, but because the body and mind are under continuous strain. Conditions like fibromyalgia are now understood as disorders of central nervous system sensitivity, where pain signals are amplified. Autoimmune conditions are influenced by stress hormones and immune responses. Chronic pain literally changes how the brain processes sensation. This doesn't mean symptoms are in your head. It means the body is communicating. And understanding this connection opens the door to compassion, not blame. Let me share some stories that show how people learn to live with their bodies, not against them. The first story is about a woman with lupus. Anna was diagnosed with lupus in her early 30s. The fatigue was crushing, the pain unpredictable, and the grief of losing the life she imagined was overwhelming. At first, Anna fought her body constantly. She pushed through exhaustion, ignored pain, and blamed herself when symptoms flared. Her turning point came through mindfulness and pacing. She learned to listen instead of resist, to rest without guilt, to adjust her expectations without giving up her dreams. Today, Anna says she still has lupus, but it no longer owns her. She paints during low-energy days and sells her artwork online. Her illness didn't take away her creativity, it redirected it. Now I am going to tell you about Michael, a man with chronic pain. Michael lives with chronic back pain after an accident. For years, he felt useless, ashamed, angry at his body. Depression followed quickly, not just from pain, but from loss of identity. Through therapy and peer support, Michael found meaning again. He started mentoring others with chronic pain, helping them navigate both physical and emotional recovery. He says the pain is still there, but so is the purpose. Now, a little about depression and illness. Depression is one of the most common companions of chronic illness, the unpredictability, the isolation, the grief. But many people learn that depression isn't a failure, it's a response. And with support, treatment, and understanding, it can soften. Now, I continue this episode and tell you about tools for healing. Healing with chronic illness doesn't always mean eliminating symptoms. Often it means changing the relationship with the body. Here are tools that help many people. Body-based therapies, such as somatic therapy, gentle movement, or trauma-informed yoga, help calm the nervous system. Rest cycles, learning to rest before exhaustion hits, not after. Mindfulness and pacing, staying present without pushing past limits. Breathing techniques, slow, intentional breathing tells the nervous system it's safe. These tools don't cure illness, but they reduce suffering. Now I want to welcome a very special guest, Elisabeth. Elisabeth lives with chronic depression. For years, she struggled to get out of bed, to feel motivated, to imagine a future. I'm going to ask her a few questions now. Elisabeth, I'm so grateful you're here today. Welcome to the Labels Don't Define Us podcast.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I'm really honored to be here. This podcast means a lot to me, honestly.
That means a lot to hear. And I want to start by saying your story is one that so many people need to hear. You live with depression, and at the same time, you've built a successful career as a designer, creating your own clothing line. On the outside, people might see success, but I know the journey hasn't been simple. Can you take us back to when your mental health struggles first began? Yeah, it started years before I ever called it depression. At first, it was just exhaustion, then numbness. I would wake up every day feeling like my body was heavy, like gravity worked differently for me. I kept telling myself to push through, because that's what you're supposed to do, right? Be productive, be grateful, don't complain. That pressure to keep going is something we hear again and again, especially from people who are high functioning. How did depression show up in your body? That's such an important question. For me, it wasn't just sadness, it was physical pain, brain fog. My hands would shake when I tried to sketch. Some days I couldn't tell if I was tired or emotionally drained. Everything blurred together. My body was screaming long before my mind admitted something was wrong. That's exactly what this episode is about, how the body holds the story. At what point did creativity become part of your healing, not just your career? Honestly, at my lowest point. There was a time when I couldn't even design for clients anymore. But one night, I started sewing for myself. No deadlines, no pressure. I made clothes that felt safe. Soft fabrics, loose shapes. It sounds small, but it was the first time I listened to what my body needed instead of forcing it to perform. That's incredibly powerful. Creating clothing that responds to your nervous system, not just aesthetics. How did that shift affect your mental health? It gave me permission to exist as I was. Designing stopped being about proving something and became about expression. Some days my work was quiet. Other days, bold, and I realized my depression didn't disqualify me from being creative. In some ways, it deepened it. I love that you said that. There's this harmful idea that healing means becoming someone else, someone normal, but you didn't erase your experience, you integrated it. What helped you keep going on the days when depression was loud? Routine helped, but flexible routine. Therapy helped, especially learning that rest isn't failure. And community. I finally stopped pretending I was fine. I told people when I was struggling. That was terrifying, but it saved me. That honesty takes so much courage. How do you feel today compared to those earlier years? I feel more grounded. Not cured, but connected. I understand my body better now. When depression shows up, I don't panic. I listen. I adjust, and I remind myself that my worth isn't measured by how much I produce. That's such an important message for our listeners. If someone listening right now is living with depression or chronic illness and feels like their body is betraying them, what would you want them to hear? I'd want them to know this. Your body is not the enemy. It's communicating. You're allowed to move slower. You're allowed to create differently. And you're still whole, even on the days you can't do everything. Thank you for saying that. Elisabeth, thank you for your honesty, your openness, and for reminding us that success doesn't mean symptom-free. It means being self-compassionate. Thank you, Sarah. Truly, this conversation matters. It really does, and I know it's going to resonate deeply with so many people listening today. Now we're going to talk about turning struggle into expression. So many people with chronic illness turn struggle into expression. Writing from hospital beds, designing from home studios, advocating from lived experience, creating art from pain. Expression gives the body a voice when words fail. People don't thrive because of illness, they thrive because they adapt with courage. Here comes more facts and hope. Research shows that people with chronic illness experience improved quality of life when care includes mental health support, validation instead of dismissal, trauma-informed treatment, community connection. Healing isn't linear, and it's not about positivity at all costs. It's about honesty, support, and permission to live fully, even with limitations. If your body carries a story that's hard to explain, I want you to know this. You are not broken. You are responding to something real. And your life still holds beauty, purpose, and meaning. Your story matters, mind, body, and soul. Thank you for listening to Labels Don't Define Us. Remember, your diagnosis is only one chapter, not your whole story. If today's episode gave you hope or insight, please follow the podcast and share it with someone who might need it too. Together, we can break the stigma and remind the world that we are so much more than labels. Until next time, take care of yourself and never forget, you are not defined by a diagnosis.